Abiogenesis is the atheist creation myth meant to explain the origin of life. And I will show just how stupid and unscientific it is, and how much magic it requires, and how much faith it requires. So they begin with slime, conveniently there, which they cannot account for rationally. And I plan to do a separate video on the Big Bang myth. So they cheat by having materials to begin with. They have slime, conveniently there. And then, to make this alchemy of life from non-life, they add lightning, also conveniently there. And then they add a bunch of years, a bunch of aeons, or however long you want to imagine. It doesn't really matter how long you imagine, it's never going to happen. Then you have, magically, without any evidence for it, but we have to assume, lest there be a God, and thereby accountability, we must assume flubber is real. We must assume alchemy is real. Alchemy more magical than conventional alchemy of a metal into another metal, lead into gold. You think that's nonsense and magical? Look at this shit. Slime plus lightning plus time equals Frankenslime. So that's way more drastic a change than a metal into another metal, lead into gold. So if that's nonsense, how much more is this atheist creation myth nonsense? And this guy, Robin Williams, he killed himself apparently, probably because he was so unhappy from selling his soul to Satan and seeing that it wasn't worth it. He promoted abiogenesis and atheist shit. It's part of the agenda of the people who run this world, which is proven in another place in my channel, or I plan to get to that. But for this video, let's just deal with this shit. Abiogenesis is the atheist alchemy with zero evidence for it. Now, I will deal with the supposed evidence for it. When I was in high school, long ago, in 9th grade, I think it was, chemistry class with Miss Miriki, the African woman who taught us that we come from subhuman Africans, yeah, that self-hating African woman, she said she was getting paid to lie to us, telling us that this is evidence. Amino acids are supposed proof because after the Miller experiment, where atheists cheated by setting up a scenario via intelligent design to get proof that you don't need intelligent design, well, that was hypocritical of them. Even after they cheat to get it to happen, it doesn't even begin. Why? Because amino acids aren't life from non-life. They're just non-life absolutely 100%. So what they're saying is you must imagine this is real, and this imagination we call science. Since when is imagining stupid shit science? But that's atheist mythology for you. So amino acids aren't evidence, or else so are farts, because both are found in living things, and both are 100% non-living. So you may as well fart and call that evidence for your stupid shit. Oh, it's so funny. And yeah, like what else is... Oh yeah. It is unfalsifiable. In other words, you cannot prove this wrong by empirical means, which means that it is not a theory in science, nor a hypothesis, which means it isn't part of the science club at all. It's not allowed, because it's stupid fiction, more magical than Zeus, more magical than conventional fictional alchemy of lead into gold, more magical than the flying spaghetti monster. So you have to have a lot of faith to be an atheist, and this includes agnostics, who are a subcategory of atheist, who believe that this shit is possible. If you didn't think it's possible, if you reject this outright, then that means you are a sane person. Good job. But that also means you're not an atheist, because that means you believe in the only alternative to this shit, which is that life comes from life. And if life isn't origin, then it's a God one way or another, at least one. So if you want to prove that this is even a scientific theory, I'm not even saying you have to prove it right. Just prove it's a scientific explanation. You can't do that because you would need a time machine, which we don't have and is impossible to acquire or produce. Because, well, that's a different topic, but you don't have a time machine, so you can't falsify this shit, so it's not a scientific explanation. It's just as magical as alchemy. It is alchemy, and it is more miraculous than any religious story in any religion whatsoever, conceivable or actual. This is absolutely retarded shit, and people are so deluded by Satan and so eager to fit in with corrupt society that they were going to share in the same stupid myths just so they can feel comfortable. Because this atheist creation mythology is the opium of people who want to fit into secular, atheistic, low standards having, liberal, within quotation marks, liberated from the constraints of reason, society, which in Spanish sounds like the word for dirty. La sociedad es una suciedad. Now, I don't really care what you have to say in response, angry atheist, because there's nothing you can say. One. Two, I don't believe in freedom of speech because liars don't have the right to lie. And in my experience of almost, 15 years arguing with you people, you're all the same, with varying degrees of dishonesty and varying degrees of maliciousness. Although a few of you aren't malicious. But the point is, like, really, I don't want to waste my time listening to more of the same shit, like you ignoring my arguments, coming up with straw men, all that stuff. I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, look at my video on democracy, a bandwagon fallacy, showing why I hate democracy, and I also hate freedom of speech because it means freedom to lie. I don't believe in that. I'm not going to help my enemies distract from my message. So how do I end this? Oh, let me just cover... Actually, no. For another video I plan to do, God willing, it shall be about the even more magical atheist alchemy of absolute total mindlessness producing magically genius, which is dumber than saying that going full retard is how you acquire a level of genius like no other. So stay tuned.